Okay, we're gonna work on a little side project today. So I don't know how long this video is gonna be. It's either gonna be short if things go good, or it's gonna end up a little longer if things go bad. First things first, I gotta get some stuff out of the way, namely the 77 and the baler. And I'll tell you what, this baler just fits through that door. You don't make no mistakes backing that in here. I'm hoping I can pull it out in one shot, because I had to get it in here, and then I had to cock it a little bit to get the tire of the 66 over far enough inside the door jamb to get it in far enough to get past the door. So getting it back out could be interesting. Be nice if this door, well, this door just it sucks, because it's this poly door, so it doesn't really, I mean, you hit that thing hard enough with a hammer, you're coming through it. And it's short. That slider over there is taller, so we can get shit through that door that won't fit through this door. Try to get this thing over in the same spot it was when I put the baler in, so that it'll come out right. Otherwise, I'm gonna be up here with the forklift trying to straighten shit out so I can get it out the door. We're good. At some point here this week, after I get the straw baled, which hopefully, if the weather does what it's supposed to, we'll see how much rain we get tomorrow. Hopefully we're baling by Tuesday, Wednesday at the latest. I'm gonna rake it Monday. Unless it's drying down good and I don't gotta rake it, but I got a feeling I'm gonna have to rake it, because I got a feeling it's gonna be wet on the bottom, and I don't want to start getting moldy on me. So I think it's in my best interest to rake it. But after I get done with the straw situation, I got to clean the sprayer back out, switch it back to beans, and I got, well, the new field down the road here has some grass coming back in it, so I got to mix up a little bit of spray and go back and spot spray that grass. I'm not going to spot spray, I'm going to spray the whole field, but really that's the only bean field I got that's got anything coming back in it. That Zidua won't hold back grass, but grass isn't really a huge problem in most of my stuff. Most of my issues with broadleaves, and that Zidua holds that stuff back great. So usually I only have to spray once, go back and clean up a couple spots, but We ended yesterday when it was all said and done, we ended up with just a tick over 3/4 of an inch. I don't think it was quite 8/10, but my gauge didn't go down to tenths, it only measures in quarters. But it was a nice 3/4 because it started raining yesterday at about 11 and didn't stop till yesterday night about 10:30, 11. So it came over like a 12-hour span, so it came nice and slow, it all stoked in. Nothing, it never rained hard, it was just kind of a nice, steady, heavy sprinkle most of the day, really. Okay, now we can get to our main project for today, which is that little guy. This is the hell is that? A little bit of mud. This is a 1957 Farmall Cub. This is technically my sister's, but since she's living in an apartment in Lincoln, Nebraska right now, I don't think she's gonna need it. And I want to use it to work on the yard around the barn and stuff like that, because we got, well, that fast hitch disc right there came with this tractor. This thing, we are the second owners on it. Came from Lake City, Michigan. Actually bought it at a John Deere dealer, and the guy that worked at the dealer who we bought it from, his dad bought it brand new to use in their, they had like a large, like a oversized garden plot, and this is what they worked it with. They bought it new, got the tractor, the cultivators, the one bottom fast hitch plow with the coulter, which is important because the coulter on those is separate from the plow. The coulter actually bolts, if I remember right, the coulter hooks right here. Either it goes in that hole or that hole, but I'm pretty sure it's that hole. It's been so long since I had it on the tractor. So most of the time when you find the plow, the coulters are usually missing. So the tractor, the plow, the disc. Trying to remember if the sickle mower we got came with this, or if the sickle mower came, if we got the sickle mower somewhere else. We got a set of cultivators with it. Pretty sure we got the tractor, the cultivators, the plow, and the disc is what all came with the tractor, and then the other stuff we've acquired separately over the years. So we've got, for the Cubs, we've got a sickle bar mower, a mid-mount sickle bar mower. We've got the fast hitch plow, the fast hitch disc. One's full set of cultivators. We've got a fast hitch Woods brush hog. We've got a fast hitch Howard rotavator, which this tractor has this right here, which is really rare. It's the Howard speed reducer that you got if you bought the fast hitch Howard rototiller for it, and this turns the 3-speed into a 6-speed. It cuts all your gears by, I can't remember what the gear reduction is, but basically if you put this thing in low first with that Howard speed reducer and revved it all the way up, you could start it right here in the barn, put it in first, or put it in low first, rev it all the way up, go down to the house, eat dinner, come back up here, and it probably wouldn't be the grain cart. I mean, it is slow. But you had to have that to run the rototiller on it, because just straight first gear in these was too fast. So this thing's kind of rare. Basically all you did, it's just a planetary gearbox, and you pull your final drive off, that slides on, and then your final drive bolts back on. The only thing that was missing on it was the lever was missing, so Dad actually made this. And he actually sold a couple of these because guys at tractor shows, apparently the lever on these things was common to come up missing. And then a couple guys saw what Dad did, and he actually sold a couple of these to other guys because they liked them. So we got the rototiller, the brush hog, yada yada yada. We've got, what else do we got? We've got the grader blade slash snow blade, which is what I use on my cub to plow snow. I've got the drawbar mounted plow, 2 of them for my cub, which you've seen already when I was moving stuff out of the barn. That might be all the cub stuff we got. Somewhere we got a set of front wheel weights. They were on my cub, and I don't think I got them on there anymore. I think those are down in the barn. We're down in the main barn. I think that's it. But the brush hog and the rototiller for these things is really rare. I've used the brush hog before. The rototiller needs work. That's sitting up on the shelf down in Dad's barn. That hasn't been used since we got it, but we do have it. Because they had the rototiller for this and they scrapped it, so Dad actually had to hunt that down. And the brush hog and the rototiller came from the same place. I think he found those on, can't remember if he found those on eBay, but they were sold as a set. But basically this tractor is all original except for I can't remember if this is the original battery box or if we had to buy a new one because the old one was rusted out. But this is an original Cub battery box. I just can't remember if it's original to this tractor. The rear light and light bracket were missing, so those are aftermarket. The front lights were, I can't remember why we had to put new front lights on it. I think the front lights were wrong for a 57, so it's got new lights on the front. The pull rod for the fast hitch was all bent up, so Dad had to straighten that out, and that's why that ended up painted. And these steel lines for the going from the pump to the hydraulic unit were, something was screwed up with those, and they were full of braze holes and shit, so Dad just ended up buying an original set off eBay. And then for some reason, at some point, the front grille ended up painted silver instead of white, but you can see the original white under the silver. But other than that, this tractor is 100% original right down to the rear tires. Front tires are original, rear tires are original. And then this bracket here and this little extension for your brake and this fender support extension, all this stuff came when you installed the speed reducer. So all that stuff's original with the speed reducer. And you'll see more when I get it out of the hole, but this is just probably one of the nicest, straightest original Cubs you will ever see. It had a really easy life, and the speed reducer, and then it's got the factory tack, which makes it kind of different. But it's got 2,700 original hours. The tack works. For some reason, somebody left the ignition on. Oh, and I can't remember why the dash pedestal ended up painted. I can't remember if that was rusted out or something, and this is a different one, but I can't remember why that ended up painted. This thing's been, man, this thing's been here a long time. Or, well, it hasn't been in here, but just, I think Dad bought this for my sister a year or two after he bought my 66. Ooh. Not the worst smelling gas I've ever smelled. Luckily, there's not a whole lot in there. So, anyway, like I say, I want to get this going to use over at the house. I already went and got a new battery for it. That's down in the barn. I put it on a trickle charger yesterday to bring it all the way up. So I'm going to throw a new battery in it, and we'll see. It's either going to start on its own, or we're going to have to drag it down to the shop and fiddle with it. So I'll go grab the battery real quick and we'll see what we can do here. Okay. And these things are 6-volt positive ground, so unless somebody's been in there and changed it over to either 12-volt or 6-volt negative ground, like what would be more standard in our modern world, but well, 6-volt pot or 6-volt ground or 6-volt systems are not standard in any world anymore, but 12-volt negative ground would be. Battery cover slides on like so. And your top battery cover. Okay. I don't think fuel's on. I highly doubt this thing's gonna start because it's been, I can't even remember how long this thing's been sitting. The battery I took out of it was from 2014. I know that wasn't, it ran after that, but it's probably been sitting here since at least 2016. But we'll find out here. Maybe. Come on, sit somewhere. Well, dang you. There, how about on the seat? There. Oh, forgot to tighten up this. That might help a little bit, huh? Funny how that works. And we're not getting any fire. Okay, I really turn that off. I really don't want to screw with it up here and have to drag tools back and forth. So at the very least, I'm gonna have to get some air in the tires so I can at least get it out of its hole, and at least get it up by the door so I got some light. I'd really like to get it down to the shop. So I'm gonna go throw the air tank in my truck. I might just have Dad help me pull it down to the shop. That way I don't gotta, if I was further away from the house, but the house is right there. So I think that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so since we're not getting any go-go, I guess the first thing I'm going to do here is we're going to pop the distributor cap off and see what the points and rotor and everything look like. Because it's been sitting long enough, it might have some fuzzies in there. I need a screwdriver. It's a little dirty. Oh yeah, that's fuzzy. That is fuzzy. Stay up there. Naturally, they put the little alignment dog on the far side so you can't get under it with a screwdriver. Because this is a little stuck. Oh, out. And might be able to get behind her with a pick. The worst thing about a Cub is it's about the same as working on a garden tractor. Everything is so packed tight, you can't really get your hands in there to do any good. Come on. There we go. Points actually look pretty darn good. You probably won't be able to see, but probably drag a little piece of emery cloth in through there. We got a point file, but I don't think it's gonna fit. So what you do is you take and probably that one right there. Get you a piece of emery cloth and you fold it over on itself so that it's two-sided. And then I can get you a wedgie in here. And then you just pull your points open and close on the emery cloth, and that creates your resistance, and then you just like so. Get that out of the way for a second. Now, if we roll it over, see if we got any spark. Ignition on. I can't tell. I still can't tell. I think there's something there, but I can't see because of the light. 6 volt is usually hard to see because it's not that super strong of a spark. Okay, now I'll clean up our rotor because it was pretty scuzzy looking. It had a big black fuzzy growing on it. If we get this thing running, yesterday I ordered an oil filter for it, an oil filter for mine, because mine needs service too. Put our little moisture gasket back on. I guess this thing doesn't really have a deal to align it to anything. It just kind of goes in there. It does snap in though. And then our rotor can go back on. And we will get some of these fuzzies cleaned up. Got a different piece of emery cloth, that one's. Yeah, need something a little smaller than that. Okay, distributor's all back together. I did pull all the plugs out, or the wires out of the cap and checked them. 2 of those were kind of scuzzy. So that's all cleaned up, hopefully. Okay. Well, I guess we have to pull a plug and see if we're getting spark there. Well, I did the old stick the screwdriver in the plug wire test, and hold it up against the top of the, or hold it off the top of the plug, and we're not getting any spark to the plug. So that's got me wondering if the condenser took a shit. I mean, it's possible the coil took a shit, but it's not very likely. So I guess I'll get a condenser for it, which I gotta run to town anyway because the oil filters will be there for it today. So I guess that's my next step, is to see if a condenser will take care of it. I don't think it's worth changing the points, because the points look like, I mean, the points are still damn near perfect. So probably throw a condenser in it and see if that takes care of the problem. Hopefully it does. That's more than likely. I would be very surprised if that doesn't take care of it. So I guess we'll find out. Okay, not that it looks any different, but I got a new condenser in it. Napa had one on the shelf. They're usually pretty good about having ignition parts for most of your common stuff. Didn't change the points because they look fine. They're not pitted or anything. They were just a little fuzzy from sitting, so didn't worry about the points. They were fairly, the points have been changed since we got it, so they're not even, they ain't got any hours on them really. Anyway, now let's see if we got spark. I know the ignition switch is working because the amp gauge moves when you turn it on and off. So I know the ignition switch is fine. Now we got spark. You can see. I don't see if you can see that. Hold on, let me get my, I don't know if it'll show up or not on camera. Oh yeah, now we got spark. Okay, let me throw this back together and hopefully she'll chooch to life. Okay, we'll see if it'll run on this old shit gas. Okay. Well, I guess I'll see if we're getting spark to the plug. Okay, I cleaned all the plugs, had spark there. Still no go, so I think we've got our ignition issue sorted out. I think we're down to, I think the carburetor's got some shit in it. I know we're getting fuel to the carb because it'll flood out and start running out your air intake tube. So we're getting fuel to the carb, it's just not getting from the carb to the motor. So first things first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 13.5 turns on the main jet. When we put that back in, I cleaned the sediment bowl too. It had a little bit of shit in the bottom of it, but the fuel actually doesn't smell as bad as what it initially seems, so it should run on it. Ain't gonna be the greatest for it, but I don't think it's worth trying to drain it. Now hopefully we can split this without hurting the bowl gasket. Damn it. It's a little nasty in there. Okay, I got everything cleaned up. There was some green shit blowing or growing in the bottom of the fuel bowl, and I'm pretty sure the main jet was plugged or like restricted because I blew some crap out of there. So I did put a little tear in the bowl gasket when I took it apart, but we'll throw it back together real quick and see. If not, I guess I got to get a carb kit so I can get a bowl gasket, because that one's a little too intricate to try cutting yourself. Damn. That's not gonna work. Okay, so another trip to town later, we got a carburetor kit. All I'm gonna do is use that gasket. I'll throw the rest of it on the shelf because everything else in this it's had a carb kit put in it before, so other way. So there ain't no sense in changing a bunch of brand new parts. Well, not brand, but you know what I mean. Probably should have just went and got one to begin with, but sometimes you get lucky and everything comes apart okay and you can just clean it and put it back together, because I've done that on my 66 before. My 66 I actually think is probably about due for another carburetor kit, because this summer it's developed an issue. I wouldn't even necessarily call it an issue, but if it sits for like a week and then you go to start it, it'll be loaded up with fuel and it'll take it a second to clear out. I mean, it doesn't affect how it starts or anything. It still starts fine, and it doesn't run rich or anything. I just think it must have some shit getting in the the float valve, and it must not be shutting off 100% all the way. It doesn't leak fuel on the floor or anything, but it must just weep enough to let itself load up. But luckily with these Cubs, there's enough of them around. That kit came from TSC, had one on the shelf, so. But TSC carries shit for Cubs and Fords because that's mostly what your homeowners are going to have if they don't have a, well, now subcompact and compacts are the thing to have, but for the longest time it was like your N series, N series, and like Jubilee Fords and Farmall Cubs and stuff if you were doing a garden patch or anything like that. So most of your general maintenance items for these things are fairly easy to come by without too much hassle. Okay, so that's 1/2 turn, 2 half turns, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that should pretty much put that back where it was. And I can go ahead and put this back on the tractor. I'll probably put, just because it looked a little goofy, I'll probably put the new flange gasket on there, but see if this takes care of the problem. Okay, carburetor's back on. The fuel was low enough. I decided, since we're starting with a fresh fuel system, I didn't want to lug a full 5-gallon can up here, but we had a partial down in the barn, so I dumped probably like 1/2 gallon to 1 gallon of fresh fuel in with the old fuel, kind of blend that off to hopefully make it a little easier for it to run on. Fuel's on, so hopefully something will happen here. That's what she wanted. Now, can't explain the difference as to why. Nope. We got the 2 Cubs, this one and mine. This one has always been cold-blooded as hell. Like, today it would probably be okay, but like if it's below 50 degrees, you better start it up and let it run for 5 minutes before you move it, or it's gonna die. And the colder it gets, the worse it gets. My Cub is the exact opposite. You start it, you let it run for 30 seconds, and you can do anything you want with it. Can't explain it. So I guess I'm gonna back this thing out for a little, back it out and let it run for a little bit and warm up. Then we'll go ahead and drop the oil and change that. All right, changed the oil, greased the front end, topped off the hydraulic oil, changed the oil in the air filter, so she's all serviced out, ready to go. Got a new battery in it. She's got a lot of attention here today, but we can go ahead and get the disc hooked up. It's so quiet. I can't remember what year it was that they went to the underslung exhaust, but it really cleaned the hood line up on these things. I always love all the cute little commercials you see of the fast hitch implements, and they're sitting there all nice and in a little arrangement, and you see the guy will back into one and drop it and then come back and back into another one, just not even ever getting off the tractor. Yeah, I call bullshit. They never line up square enough. Okay, now we're locked in. Ready to go farm 1,000 acres. But, I guess this thing's ready to go to my house, and since I already shot the day all to hell trying to get this thing running, and I'm not really trying to save any time at this point, I might as well just drive it over there. It'll probably only take me about 30 minutes. Take me that long, get the trailer hooked up, get the tractor loaded up, chain it down, drive over there, unchain it, bring the trailer back, yada yada yada. So I guess oh yeah, speed of 9 miles an hour. Better turn your head around, otherwise it's gonna blow it right off your head. I realize it's only 60 cubic inches and 9 3/4 horse, but they could have given her one more road gear. Like 11 mile an hour or something. Stop here at the house for a minute and go from there. Well, that wasn't too bad of a little drive. Let's see, left mom and dad's at 4:55 and it's now 5:30 on the dot, so 35 minutes. Yeah. I'm not 100% sure this is supposed to be here. I mean, something like it is probably supposed to be there. Probably, I don't know, it could be right, but we got it here. I mean, it's a little wet to be doing anything, but might as well play with it for a second. Well, it looks like I need to level the disc out. That look better? Yeah. One more turn. That looks better. So, I guess we'll make a couple passes over this. I doubt it does anything without, although there's enough rain on it, it's fairly soft, but I doubt it does anything without any weight on the disc. That thing basically weighs nothing on its own. You put, can't remember if I put 2 cinder blocks or 4 cinder blocks in here when I used to disc with it. And then it would do a pretty good job. But we'll set you, we can set you here on the 062. I'm gonna have to get something to weight that disc down. It's trying, but it just ain't got enough lead in its ass to get in the ground. So anyway, I guess that's today's mission accomplished. Took longer than I expected it, but she's running now, so just figure out how to get her stuffed in the barn and call her a day. So that's it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.